Previously, VPC endpoint policies could not control the Create Session API in IAM Roles Anywhere, creating an inconsistency in access control for workloads outside AWS that use X509 certificates to obtain temporary credentials. You can now configure VPC endpoint policies for the Create Session API to allow or deny operations explicitly. You must include Create Session in your allow statement or use Roles Anywhere to permit credential requests through your VPC endpoint. This change applies consistent access control across all IAM Roles Anywhere API operations, closing the previous gap. You can now obtain credentials using X509 certificates with the same fine-grained VPC endpoint policy controls that apply to other operations, available in all regions where IAM Roles Anywhere operates. Managing spatial data requires running compute-intensive transformations like format conversion, 3D rendering, and image tiling, but these operations need dedicated resources and integration with your existing asset pipeline. You can now submit custom transformation jobs to AWS Deadline Cloud using open job description templates, letting you offload processing while maintaining governance. You can extend SDMA's built-in content analysis with custom logic to verify formats and extract attributes. Connectors run in isolated environments and automatically ingest outputs back into SDMA's governed repository, enabling you to automate and chain processing workloads across your spatial data pipeline. The desktop application now includes a standalone installer that bundles all dependencies, removing the need to separately install the CLI or other components. High-volume data ingestion can strain your data warehouse during peak periods, causing performance degradation when loading data from S3 or replicating from operational databases. You can now enable concurrency scaling for autocopy and Zero-ETL in Redshift to address this challenge. When you enable concurrency scaling, the system adds compute capacity automatically during peak periods to handle increased read and write queries. You can ingest data from S3 and databases in near real time without manual intervention, as autocopy monitors S3 buckets and Zero-ETL replicates from operational and transactional databases. This ensures you maintain performance during high-volume data operations without compromising ingestion speed. The feature is available in all AWS commercial and GovCloud regions for Redshift serverless and RA3 provisioned data warehouses. When you operate OpenSearch domains across multiple AWS regions, you previously needed to switch between different endpoints or replicate data to query and visualize information in a centralized location. This created operational overhead and increased costs while making it harder to build unified analytics and observability workflows. OpenSearch Service now enables cross-region data access through a single UI application. You can query domains across regions from one interface without switching endpoints or replicating data. You can combine this with cross-account access to connect to domains in any combination of accounts and regions. This keeps data in place to meet data residency requirements and minimize inter-region egress costs. If you use cross-cluster replication, you can query both primary and replica domains from the same UI. You can authenticate with either IAM or IAM Identity Center. Cross-region access works with domains in both public and VPC configurations and is available in all regions where OpenSearch UI runs. Running AI, ML, and HPC workloads on Kubernetes requires high-performance internode communication and RDMA capabilities, but managing EFA resource allocation efficiently has been complex. Amazon EKS now supports dynamic resource allocation for Elastic Fabric Adapter to address this challenge. You can enable topology-aware allocation for EFA interfaces, ensuring traffic flows through the network interface closest to each GPU, Trainium, or Inferentia device. You can share EFA interfaces across workloads on the same node to maximize interface utilization. You can allocate devices sharing the same SI root or group, optimizing performance for accelerator workloads. You can deploy this driver on EKS clusters with Kubernetes version 1.34 or later using managed or self-managed node groups. The EFA DRA driver is available in all AWS regions where Amazon EKS is available. while the existing EFA device plugin remains supported for Carpenter and EKS Auto Mode deployments. When you operate SQL Server databases at scale, you may need to expand storage beyond the limits of a single volume while maintaining read replica capabilities for high availability and read scalability. This feature solves that challenge by enabling you to create read replicas for RDS SQL Server instances configured with additional storage volumes. You can create read replicas for instances with additional volumes, allowing same region and cross-region replication for databases that scale storage up to 256 TB across multiple volumes. When you create a replica, the system preserves the storage layout from the source instance, maintaining consistency in your storage architecture. After the replica is established, you can manage volume configurations independently on both source and replica instances, giving you flexibility to optimize storage for each instance based on its specific workload requirements. This capability is available in all AWS commercial and GovCloud US regions through the console, CLI, or SDKs. Previously, you had to host WebSocket applications in public subnets and maintain ACLs and other mechanisms to restrict access to your servers. This required ongoing effort to implement and maintain security controls for real-time applications like chat platforms, collaborative editing tools, and IoT systems. Now you can host WebSocket applications in private subnets by placing your ALB, NLB, and EC2 instances behind CloudFront distributions. You use CloudFront as the single entry point for both HTTP and WebSocket traffic, which reduces your attack surface and simplifies security management. CloudFront provides built-in DDoS protection for your real-time applications. This capability is available in all AWS commercial regions where VPC Origins is supported at no additional cost. Embedded systems developers face challenges with memory safety, protocol support, and long-term device viability in IoT deployments. FreeRTOS 202604 LTS provides 2 years of feature stability, security updates, and critical bug fixes to address these issues. You can deploy kernel v11.3.0 with security hardening and expanded MPU support that reduces claimed hardware regions, allowing you to reserve MPU regions for application-specific memory protection. You can implement QormTut v5.0.2 to enable MQTT v5.0 features like topic aliases for bandwidth-constrained devices and request/response patterns for interactive applications. You can use Corcent P v2.0.0 to ensure devices validate TLS certificates and timestamp data correctly beyond 2038. You can access libraries verified for memory safety and MISRA-C compliance to improve robustness and reliability. Migration guides support updates from previous versions, and the extended maintenance plan provides critical fixes beyond the LTS expiry period. Organizations using RDS for SQL Server with additional storage volumes face challenges in managing backups across multiple AWS accounts for compliance, disaster recovery, and testing purposes. Without cross-account snapshot sharing, you cannot easily isolate backup environments or investigate production issues in separate development accounts. This feature enables you to share snapshots of database instances that use up to 256 TB of storage across additional volumes between AWS accounts. When you share a snapshot, the storage layout and volume configurations are preserved in the target account. You can then restore the snapshot to a new database instance, copy it within or across regions, or create independent backups with separate IAM permissions. This allows you to establish isolated backup environments in dedicated accounts to meet compliance requirements, perform diagnostics by restoring production snapshots in development accounts, and implement disaster recovery strategies across account boundaries.